friends, thank you so much for joining me on another storybook video. I'm Teacher Young from You Children, and I have a shout out for my friend Sullivan. Sullivan, when I moved back to Washington State and had a big classroom of preschoolers, you were one of them, and you weren't even 3 years old yet. You came up to me and decided, oh, she is my person. I'm going to start calling her Youngie. Youngie will be the only one that's allowed to hold my hand all the way to the playground. She's the only one that can hold my hand back to the classroom. She will be the only one allowed to pat me at nap time. She will not be allowed to leave the classroom for lunch. And during lunch, she's going to find me some extra fruit to eat. Oh, Sullivan, I'm so happy you chose me as your person, and I don't even know how you did that, but I'm so glad. And then when we were reunited, when you joined my program for pre-K, I felt a little bit more complete as a teacher. Thank you for choosing me. I'm going to talk about you and your family a little bit later after this book. But first, let's read it. It's one of your favorites from preschool because you kind of looked like him. It's called Iggy Peck, Architect by Andrea Beaty and drawings by David Roberts. I love each page of this book, so I will zoom in for you. It's drawn on graph paper, which is very important for architects. Awesome title page. And here we go. Young Iggy Peck is an architect, and he has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. "Good gracious, Ignatius," his mother exclaimed, "that's the coolest thing I've ever seen." But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past, and she realized those diapers weren't clean. "Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks." But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples, and temples from modeling clay. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. Dear Ig had it made until 2nd grade, when his teacher was Miss Lila Greer. On the very first day, she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings, ancient or new." She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. That might seem severe, but she was sincere, for when she was no more than 7, she'd had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator, eating cheese with the French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say, she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that above all one ought to avoid them, No ifs, ands, or buts. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk. But he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal Howe? No, ma'am, Iggy said. He lowered his head and his heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. Now second grade was a bore. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream. But they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed and Miss Lila Greer started to scream. "We're trapped here! Oh my! Alas! Kids, goodbye!" Her eyeballs rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound. Luckily fainted, not dead. The class was amazed. They stood there, quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one bright young man was off hatching a plan, which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass was working together as one. And when she came to, Miss Lila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces, and on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Boots, tree roots, and strings, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge in a glorious bridge dangling from shoestring suspension. It all became clear to Miss Lila Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. Now every week at Blue River Creek, elementary in second grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. The weekly guest speaker in t-shirt and sneakers talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course, he's the guy who builds towers from pie, that brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. The end. Oh, Sullivan, I just want to thank you again for being part of my program. And you are one of the ones that are so special in the community because your family makes such a great difference. You're wonderful role models. And because of your grandma, who was volunteering at the food bank, gave us the idea to make lunches for children in need. Those children who didn't have lunches for the weekends. they got to pick up lunches. And I'm not saying we did a whole bunch, but we did do hundreds of lunches. We made them from food that your mom and Anna's mom and other moms and I got together. And you and Anna were so amazing at making sure that every bag had one of each item so that children in our neighborhood could eat lunches. We were so lucky to be fed well, and it's just an amazing thing to help out your community. So thank you and your family, your mom and your aunt, for being such wonderful role models for the community. Because you have that in your veins, when you grow up, you know that you're going to build a wonderful community, and I know you're going to be a great leader. Thank you so much. I love you, Sullivan. Have an awesome day and go kill it in first grade. I know you can do it. Yay. We'll see you next time. Thank you.